Hello, this is Angelica Sagath at the Osteopathy and Healing Center. I want to talk to you today about intuition. And I'm going to start off by saying that even though I'm going to use words to describe what intuition is, it's not logical. So it's more experiential. So I apologize for not giving justice to intuition as I define it. But I am going to start off by telling you what intuition is. It is what we use to gain information about anything. So we use intuition to gain information about anything. Lori Wilson gives us also a definition of what intuition is. She says that it is what we use to get to it information. Intuition is what we use to get there. And as I go on and talk to you about intuition today, I will be referring to a lot of the material because I am doing a medical intuition course with Lori Wilson online. So I will be talking to you about her material as well. So having said what intuition is, we're going to talk more about it, and I'm going to define it to you as what Oxford Dictionary says it is. It says that it's the ability to know something immediately without conscious reasoning. So let's break this definition down. I want to start off by talking to you about knowingness. So to know something, knowingness. You might have heard someone say, I just know. And you're like, well, how do you know? And they're like, well, I just know. It's a knowingness. And it's also described as a sense of truth. So I'm going to give you a personal story here, or experience, I should say, in my life of a sense of truth, where my intuition was helping me along the way. So I used to be a Jehovah's Witness, and when I would sit at we call it the Kingdom Hall instead of the church, I would listen to talks that the elders, so there isn't priests, so elders would give. And when it came to the subject of a person leaving the organization, and if they left, the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses would no longer be able to associate or talk to that individual, it didn't ring true to me. It didn't seem right. So here is an example of my intuition helping me out. And as the years went by, I gained more evidence, or my intuition kept reminding me, Angelica, you gotta look into this. So as the evidence accumulated, I decided I no longer wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness, and I went to the elders and I disassociated myself. As a result of that, then my family was not able to associate or speak to me. That is my family who are also Jehovah's Witnesses. So intuition is a sense of truth. Intuition is what we use to gain information. Intuition is instantaneous apprehension, so understanding something right away. And some other words that Lori Wilson uses to describe intuition is honing in, tuning in, directing, focusing. Now you may be wondering, well, how do I gain intuitive information? Well, we gain information through our senses. So our sense of sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch. So when you look at the Oxford Dictionary of the definition of sense, it's one of 5 faculties that we use to perceive something. And so we use our senses in order to perceive information or pick up information. Our senses help us do that. Having said that, intuition is also described as a gut feeling. So you may be able to relate to this. You meet someone and you feel like, wow, they're great, I can trust them. Or the opposite, I feel I can't trust this person, especially when it comes to money. That thought might cross your mind. I don't think I can trust this person when it comes to money. So as you interact with them, time passes by, you see more and more instances of, yeah, I was right. That feeling, that gut feeling was correct. And that's just a way for your body to communicate to you about a certain situation. It's giving you information, and you can choose to either ignore that information, or in this case, I may be more assertive with the person and have boundaries, knowing that feeling has come up, that gut feeling of I might not be able to trust this person, especially when it comes to money. And when the Oxford Dictionary defines intuition as immediate, it really is immediate. And I'll share another example here of my experience. A couple years ago, I went to Vancouver, Victoria, and I was taking an animal communication course. And the person lecturing, her name's Amelia Kincaid, she said that the information comes quickly. It's fast. And it really is when you're picking up intuitive information. I also want to bring out that part of the Oxford Dictionary that says without conscious reasoning. So I'll give you an example here. I went to university, and when I was in university, I was using my mind a lot, listening to the different professors about all these different lectures. You might be able to relate to this as well. So when I'm listening to that information, I'm using my mind. That is more of a beta state of mind. Versus when you're gathering intuitive information, that's more of an alpha state of mind. So that is a distinguishing feature that we can use to our advantage to be able to know that, yes, I am using my intuition in this case to help me and give me information. I also wanted to tell you about the different sources that we can gain information from. So sources include a feeling, includes a color, a sensation. Sources of information can be the body itself, and also what I used, the innate intelligence of the business, in order to figure out what video I should do next to post on YouTube for my viewers. So when I tapped into what's called the innate intelligence of the business, I asked, okay, what video should I do next for my viewers? And then the intuitive information flowed, and then I was able to pick up, okay, so people want to see a video on intuition. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm delivering a video on intuition. The other thing that I wanted to say about intuition is it's like a tool. And being an osteopathic manual therapist, we use tools in order to assess, align, and balance the body. Similarly, in intuition, they use tools, and these are skills that are learned, tools in order to tune in to the body to gain information about the body. Mind you, osteopathy is both a science and an art form, and it's based on principles. When we adhere to those principles, then we are using or doing osteopathy. So we can be using tools and techniques, and they're osteopathic as long as we adhere to the principles. However, if we gear off and we don't adhere to the principles, then we're just using a technique or a tool. Having said that, some other definitions of intuition, and this is from Lori's material, is that it's a spidey sense. It's a telepathy. It is an instinct, a premonition, a feeling in the body. And you can add many more words to this list as well to describe intuition. And as I'm describing it, you might already have thought back to a memory where you were using your intuition, and that's great. So the next thing I want to talk about is, well, what is medical intuition? So we defined what intuition is, kind of the umbrella, and now we're going to go bring our focus into, well, what is medical intuition? So I'm just going to read you a definition from Lori's book. Medical intuition is really just a simple set of definitive intuition skills organized to gather energetic information from our ever-present friend, the body. And there's many types of medical intuition. The Lori Wilson's total body medical intuition body scan is one type of medical intuition. So now we're going to look at the definition of what is medical intuition. What does medical mean in the Webster Dictionary? And it says, it defines it as from medicus, healing, pertaining to or employed in the science, study, or practice of medicine or the art of healing disease. So here really we're looking at that part of the definition that has to do with healing or pertaining to the art of healing and paying attention to the body, focusing, tuning in to the body. And the body really has a lot of information that it wants to share. As long as we're able to listen and pay attention, we'll be able to pick up that information. So there is different energy fields that surround the body. One of those fields is the physical field of the body, and that is the field that we're tuning into or tapping into when we're using medical intuition. The medical intuition is also defined by Lori, the body having its own psyche, the body having its own personality, the body having its own energy field. So when we're paying attention to the body, we are channeling. Channeling means we're getting information from a third source, the third source being the body of the patient. And when we channel this body, this wisdom from the body, it's like we're tuning into a channel on TV. And please remember that we are just the plug, the wire. So we're gaining information. And I may want to switch the channel, and I may want to look at, let's say, the business, innate intelligence of the business. So we can use our intuition to tune into different sources of wisdom. In this case, we're turning in our attention to the source of wisdom of the body. Now, as I'm talking, you may have experienced intuition differently, and a lot of people, they experience intuition differently. And I myself started to look into, well, what is intuition? Because I started picking up information intuitively, and we'll go into different styles of intuition, possibly in another video, that I also hope to do another video explaining the history of intuition as well. So I started to pick up this information intuitively as I was working with my patients, and it really is a different energy feel to it. It's more alpha, like we said. It may come in quickly, and I was wondering where the information was coming from, and as I took the course, I learned, well, this information is coming from our bodies, and the body was trying to communicate with me as I was treating here the patient, and it has really valuable information to share with us. So then I started to learn, how can I pay attention more, and how can I track, this is the term that Lori uses in her medical intuition, how can I track that information, how do I follow that information, and how do I then communicate that information without changing anything back to the patient. So I want to just say here that yes, intuition is normal, it's natural, it's a natural process, and you will perceive impressions throughout your life. Now, having said that, it's also a privilege and responsibility, because you want to be ethical as well, and you want to respect people's privacy. So when I'm about to do a treatment, I will ask the patient, so I'm about to do my osteopathic manual therapy session, and I know that I'm getting this intuitive information from my previous experiences, and I want to deliver this information and share it with the patient if they would like me to. So I say to them, and this is from Lori's notes as well, she says that the body will give information. It's kind of like an information base, and it has its personality of its own. And when I'm focused, when you're focused, we're relaxed, and I'm treating the body, the information will come to the surface. And when that happens, would you like me to share that information with you, or would you like me to keep it to myself? And if they're like, yeah, share the information with me, then I do. As I'm doing the treatment, if something comes up intuitively, I will just deliver that information. And sometimes they will say no, and that's fine too. We want to respect that as well. So I wanted just to mention here, medical intuition has been used for centuries. It's been used to make discoveries, and people have used their intuition in order to help them out through life. I'll give you just a brief example right now. If you're a parent, or let's just say you're a person who sees a kid fall, they scrape their knee, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to take your hand, you're going to put it on their knee. How do we know how to do that? Well, we know how to do that because it is, throughout history, it's been programmed into our DNA. It's been programmed in our bodies. It's been programmed in our energy field. So it is it's a part of us, it's natural, it's normal, and hopefully in the next video I am going to touch on some more examples to give you resources of people throughout history that have used intuition and that talk about intuition, so you can get more familiar with that as well on your own time. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for tuning in. Have a good day. Bye-bye.